Welcome to Popcorn, folks. I'm Matt Keeney.
And I'm Tim Boehme, coming at you.
Our first episode of the new year.
That's right.
Pretty great stuff.
It's going to be awesome. Best show ever.
Well, what do we got to talk about? I'm kind of out of it today. Normally I have a soda. Today it's my Tylenol.
Well, first we had
sore throat.
another Boehme sighting, which is me.
Really?
Yeah. At the comic book shop in Festus. Dude's like, haven't I seen you on TV? And I go, yeah. He's like, I thought so. But then he didn't say whether he liked it or not. But anyway, so I'm famous.
Good. You're a celebrity around here. Well, it's good. At least we know people are seeing this show. So that's great.
Right. That's right. I heard actually that Christian Bale saw it, though, and he went into a tirade about it. You know, how he hated our show.
Did he throw something at you as you're walking down the street?
Said we were unprofessional.
Well, I can't argue with that.
Have you heard that rant?
You know, I heard about it. I haven't actually heard it.
You really should dial that one up, man. Just do like a Google search for Christian Bale audio. But the best part is that it's been like taken and used like for all kinds of stuff. Like every late night comedian has done different bits on it. Like on Letterman, they had this thing where they were splicing his audio with the audio from the dudes who were landing the plane. So the dudes who were landing the plane apparently were the calmest dudes ever. And they're like, yeah, we need some, and so they had cut in Chris. You're unprofessional. And of course they had like he has a gazillion curse words in his rant. And then they took it and they made like dance, rave, music out of it, like remixes, using. So.
I think he has some anger management issues. I think we can safely say, because he's had a couple of these kind of things happen, right?
I guess so. Oh yeah, he beat up his. He got charged with assault, but apparently wherever he was charged with it, if you just cuss out somebody, you could be charged with assault. But he like cussed out his own mom and sister. Mm-hmm. It's like, dude, speaking of hurting, those close to you, let's deal with the other big, perfect Valentine's Day story. There once was a princess named Rihanna, and then she met this guy who she thought was her loving prince, and I'd never heard of the guy.
Chris Brown.
I thought they were talking about Ludacris.
The R&B
she's dating
singer.
Ludacris. No, it's a totally different guy. Yeah, some clean cut. I've never heard any of his songs.
And that's why, to me, it was kind of a shock when I first heard about it, because Chris Brown has this real, nice, the good boy kind of image. And in fact, not only does he have that image, but I know media outlets have made a point to stress that he's not like a lot of these other
double mint gum guy.
Right, the double mint gum guy. He's not like a lot of these other R&B singers and rappers who kind of have that bad boy, even thug image.
Yeah.
And then this comes out that he allegedly, punches her in the face and bites her. And neither of them can make the Grammys because of that, and they had to scramble and bring in some other performers that, to fill their time slots and stuff like that. So it's a bad situation, but.
It's one thing I got to say is that of course it's bad to beat any woman or any man for that matter, but especially that's like setting fire to the Mona Lisa. I mean, come on, let's you're dating the hottest girl possibly on the planet or one of the top 10 or something, and that's not enough for you. You gotta make you smack around, make her look a little uglier. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then I've heard that she's not gonna press charges. I'm like. You gotta nail that dude to the wall. Come on.
Yeah. Well, even if she doesn't press charges, they could still charge.
Yeah, they actually are going to go forward.
Yeah.
Anyway. I'd say press charges. Try to get every bit of that double mint gum money out of it. Do a what do you call that? Personal suit or something.
Yeah, and they said that they were suspending the double mint gum ad, but I swear to God, I just saw it last night. I mean, I've been kind of out of it under the influence of this stuff, so maybe I dreamed it. But
you're hopped up on goofballs.
Yeah, but and then speaking of possibly losing endorsements, we were talking about the Michael Phelps situation as well,
Lord.
which I think everyone's making a little too big deal out of this. And they're going after, supposedly the authorities down there are going after the people who held the party and are tracking them down. And the bong, well, the guy whose bong it was that Phelps allegedly was smoking out of. Put it on eBay and tried to get like $100,000 for it. That right there was stupid. Yeah. So, I mean, they're going after him. And
I love it when they got a picture of somebody and we still have to say allegedly.
Yeah.
What was he doing? Like he was miming or something?
Well, he admitted that he did smoke weed out of it. But, I mean, how could the authorities tell through a picture? I mean, let's face it, most people don't smoke tobacco out of bongs, but they are legal to buy for that purpose. You can go down to the Loop right now and buy a bong.
Oh, so you can buy bongs.
Oh, they're legal. Yeah, as long as it hasn't been, as long as there's no resin in it or anything like that. So
like Tommy Chong was selling used ones.
Well, no, I don't know. It's a gray area. All I know, I think that was a federal
lines
law.
Or something. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the feds went after Tommy Chong and put him in prison. I mean, I guess if they really wanted to go to the Loop right now and raid those places, they probably could do it, but for whatever
that's
reason.
Weird, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I think it's kind of a gray area depending on where you are, but. Anyway, the point here is I think that there's a lot better things the law enforcement officials there could be spending time on than tracking down some weed smokers. But
Amen.
Just my opinion, man.
Free Phelps. I mean, seriously, do we have to take every single person who's ever done anything, interesting or miraculous and eventually tear them down? That seems to be the point of our culture, I guess. But anyway, did you have a movie to discuss, or are you not going to bring that up?
Well, I've watched a few movies in the past month or so. There was one I did find interesting, and I was going to bring in some clips. I wasn't able to find it, but it's called Immortal, and it's actually from a French director, and you might want to check it out. I'll probably find some pics and throw them up here, but essentially it's kind of a futuristic setting, and they kind of, I like the style of it. They mixed in some of these futuristic cityscapes with kind of like a 1920s era kind of feel. I mean, you had flying cars, but they kind of look like those old 1920s big kind of, the gangster cars when you drive by with Tommy guns, that kind of stuff. And another interesting thing about it too was it's really one of the only movies I've seen where it kind of, mixed together the CGI effects and, the old kind of special effects where, you would actually like do makeup and masks and that kind of stuff, and then regular people as well. And I think the premise behind it was a lot of the CGI people in the future here, they were getting like skin grafts so they could live longer and getting organs put in and stuff like that. So it was just a very interesting, and without even getting into the plot or anything like that, just the artistic element of it I thought was real interesting. How, you had some of the characters were CGI, others were just regular actors, and then you had some other like bounty hunter type, monster type characters that you could tell were done up with the masks and the glue and all that kind of stuff. So it's worth checking out, Immortal.
Sounds cool.
I'm not even going to get into the plot. It's the plot's maybe not the greatest thing. It kind of gets confusing at times. But if you like special effects, it's just something new that I hadn't really seen anything like it before. So
I'm going to look for that. Sounds a little bit like that Mirror Mask movie.
It reminded me of that.
Okay.
It did.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing then we're going to handle here in the intro is at the end of each year, this is a ritual with my bro and me. We compile we go through we print out all the movies that came out, and there is a ridiculous, more and more movies coming out every year, and then we mark which ones we've seen, and we make a list of top 10 and top worst. So this is my top 10 favorite, and later on in the show we'll come back and we'll deal with the duds. You've heard me mention a couple of, but I'm not going to go over any of these really, just a couple on each. Number 10 is W. We've discussed that on the show. Again, it didn't blow our minds, but I thought this was kind of a weak year for movies. So just a really competent movie like that, I thought was good for the list. Ghost Town, did you ever see that?
No.
Yeah, Ricky Gervais. If you're a fan of the original Office, his kind of humor. I didn't think I've seen like what's that one he does on Extras, and again, it's just for him. He's a funny dude. Iron Man. Everybody saw that at 8, so I don't need to go on about that. Number 7 is Happy Go Lucky, and I don't know, maybe when this comes out on DVD, I'll give it a longer treatment if I can find something that Jim and I both, something thematic about it, but this is just a British kind of character study. There's some comedy to it. There's also some kind of weirdly scary moments to it, but it's really just about this girl who is this young woman who's happy and I guess somewhat lucky in a lot of her events in her life, and so it's really, it just gets it. It's British, I like the British accents and all that, and she, basically this woman deals with the scariest driving instructor of all time, so that's something to look forward to. Number 6, Religulous. You didn't see that yet, did you?
No.
Good DVD pick if you're into Bill Maher at all, and again, I think it's, if you're not a Maher fan, I know I talked to Skyler and he thinks he's all smug and pompous and doesn't like his comedy, but it's his little take on religion and goes around kind of Michael Moore or Borat style, just going around mixing with different people, and
Is one of the premises that if you're religious, you're stupid? I mean,
that's definitely where he's.
See, right there, I don't. There are people I know that are very, very intelligent that are very religious as well. So that right there would make me not want to see it.
And the weird thing is I think Maher would acknowledge that has to be true. I mean, I know he thinks people who believe something are, the invisible spaceman, as he calls God, he thinks that's irrational. But I think he would say, that they can be smart in other areas, but in this particular area, he finds it to be he finds their religion to be stupid. So, again, yeah, if you're really, if you're offended by that very idea, I guess I'm just, and I don't agree with some of his views on it either. I mean, I guess I believe in some things that are kind of magical thinking or whatever you want to call it. But I thought it was kind of provoking and intriguing. And some of it, he just tries to ask people if they can sort of rationally explain their faith. And some people, all they can really do is say, oh, no, this, the Bible tells me so or something. They can't really explain why something is true.
Right.
So it's kind of interesting. The Wrestler, we've talked about that on the show. That is my number 5 best movie of the year. I think we've covered that, but go Mickey Rourke. Hope you win the Oscar, dude. Try not to say anything too stupid before that happens or after it happens. Try not to bite any girl in the face like Chris Brown. Zach and Miri Make a Porno, number 4.
That's the only one so far I've seen on your list. It was classic Kevin Smith, good stuff. Like we talked about it before.
Right.
Little raunchy, so if you don't like that raunchy kind of humor, not for you, but it's classic Kevin Smith.
And
stuff.
Here's the shocker of all shockers. I go to rent this thing. It's out now. It's at Blockbuster. And they just have the R-rated version. It's like even Beverly Hills Chihuahua is going to come out with an unrated version. And Zach and Miri Make a Porno is still an R movie, but I guess I thought, well, he probably threw every dirty thing he could into that R movie, and it miraculously did get an R rating. So I don't think there was anything left to make it unrated. So anyway. Number 3. Again, probably don't need to go on about this because everybody and their brother has seen it, but Pineapple Express is...
Still haven't seen it.
Oh, dude.
It's on my list. I just
That is a rental. Again. I remember I'd seen it for the 3rd time recently, and I saw it with a friend of mine. I'm like, dude, I've seen this movie twice at the theaters. I'm good to watch it again with you, but I'm probably not going to laugh very much. But there were parts where, again, I was just dying. So really great comedy. And finally, number 2, In Bruges. Again, I've talked about on the show. I've given that one a full review, so I don't think I need to go on any further about that. But check it out on DVD. And very predictable, if you know me at all. Number 1.
Dark Knight.
The Dark Knight. Yeah.
I knew it had to be number 1. I knew you weren't leaving it off the list. So
you knew that
as
one.
You got up higher and higher.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a great film.
Yeah.
It kind of got snubbed in the Oscars, I guess, right?
Well, Heath Ledger did get a nod. But yeah, I really think that's one of those where they might have, like they did with Silence of the Lambs years ago, they might have set their conceptions aside that Oscar movies are only these really serious things where somebody's dealing with a terminal illness or there's some serious, foreign intrigue or something. I mean, when Silence of the Lambs was a horror movie, and that won, and that was nominated for everything and won everything that year. So I thought maybe this year they'd finally go, okay, yeah, this is a movie that's not just a comic book movie. It's a great, kind of modern, whatever you want to call it, thriller. But no, they stuck to their stupid.
They did. I mean, it got a lot of the cinematography or effects or that kind of stuff, but none of the acting.
And that's all
nominations besides Ledger, I believe.
Right. And that's all. It's all really a racket because this movie, The Reader, I heard get some pretty terrible reviews, and that got nominated for Best Picture. I think it's really just about your marketing campaign and all that, who you know, and
there's probably a lot of truth to that too.
We're going to review Che later. That's a 4-hour and 20-minute movie. I guarantee you, the reason that movie didn't get nominated is because a lot of those Academy voters were too lazy to watch the whole thing. They fell asleep halfway through, like screw it.
That's a long time to be in the theater. Was there an intermission at all? Or?
There was.
There was. Okay.
Yeah, and that's something you can stick around for later in the show, folks. We are going to look at the 4-hour and 20-minute version of Che. You won't be able to see it in that version, but we'll tell you about it. Also, I think we're going to discuss Gran Torino. I don't know if you saw that, but that'll be interesting. Brian and I will discuss that, and we'll see if Brian's got a beef this week. He usually comes in here kind of angry. We'll see. And
then you and Jim are going to look at Predator and the old version of
The Day the Earth Stood. Yep, it's sci-fi DVD pick month or whatever. And then we'll come back at the end here, and you can hear my 10 worst films of the year. So stick around, folks. Think we got a good show, and coming back in a little bit. Viva la revolution! Alrighty, dude, let's go.
All right.
I say Obama's got like one more week, and if he doesn't fix everything, then it's revolution time.
$790 billion is not even going to come close to cover my needs, buddy.
That's right. The people.
We've got weapons. We've got
money for the people.
Some brains.
Yeah.
Some.
Okay.
All right.
Just rob all those rich people and give us some money.
Meet us at Jeffco, 6 a.m.
Or we'll be trucking through a jungle very soon. You won't want to see that.
Well, with cigars and
I don't have asthma, but I'll probably be huffing and puffing a little bit. So we're talking about the movie everybody's heard of, because I've seen like one commercial on TV about it.
I haven't seen a single commercial.
And it was only for IFC, basically saying here's probably the only way you could see this is on demand for IFC, whatever. So anyway, but we did, with mavericks that we are, we soldiered. I felt like we were kind of revolutionary.
We were. There was
Describe the narrative here, what we did.
Well, we took off to see both segments of Che. There's the Che 1, there's Che 2.
Yeah.
With individual titles that will be released to all the theaters.
And ours is called the Roadshow Edition.
The Roadshow Edition, right.
Yeah.
And it was a sort of commune of film buffs who wanted to brave the 4.5 hours, and that was
it did get pretty full too. I thought maybe the theater wouldn't be filled up, but yeah. So 4.5 hours with 20-minute intermission.
20-minute intermission, yeah.
And you needed every bit of that. And you needed some nicotine.
And lots of smoking.
In my case, you needed a power drink, one of those, and like a double espresso.
89-ounce monster.
And I'm glad I loaded up on that, because we know I'm a weak man. We'll find out about that later. But anyway, so one thing we got with our roadshow viewing is a little booklet here, and just 2 different pictures of Benicio. So anyway, yeah, I guess it's like younger Che and older Che.
Younger Che, older Che, yeah. It's, I think it's, what is it? Argentina is the one section, and I don't remember the title of the other one. Anyway, it's supposed to represent different stages for, film 1 and film 2.
But basically, film 1 covers the Cuban Revolution.
Right.
And film part 2 covers
the first one's called Guerrilla, and the other one's called Argentine. That's what it is.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, that's how they'll be released.
Okay, cool. And second part follows the Bolivian failed revolution.
Failed revolution. The parallels, of course, and that's why they set it up that way.
And this is the big part of the revolution, people. Not these cigars in particular, because these are
cheap imitations.
Low rent, baby, low rent. These are props. You don't actually smoke these.
I wouldn't smoke this in Michael Phelps's bomb.
Well, you don't want to do that because they're pressing charges.
That's a shout out to our producer, by the way.
Shout out. Anyway, so the other thing we really should be doing is wearing berets, but neither one of us owned a beret.
And don't feel like spending the money.
Probably to our credit. So let's get to the whole, what do we think of this? It was an ordeal somewhat, but I guess I thought it was a worthy ordeal.
Well, you can go and speak if you like first.
Yeah, I mean, my take on it was just that this really is for kind of film buffs, and maybe it'll be more palatable in the released in 2 separate. Because I told Patty McDaniel here, she's totally psyched. She loves Che. By the way, is it Che or Shea? I never.
Che.
Che. Okay. And it's Cuba. Not Cuba. But yeah, she loves that whole thing. She likes Venezuela and the whole. And if you're a revolutionary, Patty's probably down with it. But even she, when I told her about it, I was like, first of all, I knew you wouldn't want to see a movie where we get out at midnight and then drive home. But and she's like, wow, yeah, 4 hours and 20 minutes. That sounds rough. So I think it'll be. But even so, it's just. I guess maybe it's a little heavier on the history than most people are used to dealing with. Even though I mean, it's not like they're reading from a history book. They're dramatizing a lot of that. But I think in trying to be faithful to his memoirs or whatnot, there was some things that he made it unlike a movie in certain ways. It almost bordered on like documentary style, like how to do a revolution. And I guess the movie guy, the more entertainment guy, the popcorn guy in me would say that he could have just made one really snappy, awesome, maybe 3-hour movie out of this whole thing. But still, I appreciated both versions. The first one I liked a little bit better just because it had more ideas in it. And of course the second one's a little bit more of a downer, but I didn't really mind that. I thought that was kind of cool that we got to see the bitter end. But overall, I give it a recommendation. I certainly think Benicio should have gotten the old Oscar nod, but I don't think many of the Academy voters got all the way through all 4 hours and 20 minutes, so they couldn't really give him the vote, But anyway.
Well, yeah, it was definitely worth the struggle, I think, for the 4 hours and 20 minutes. If only because of Benicio, because that man was acting his tail off.
Oh, yeah.
At times, my body hurt from watching him go through
asthma.
it.
Yeah, that's one thing you might not have known.
Trekking through the dense jungle, it was tedious, right, at times, and will be for almost all of America. No one's going to like that.
Yeah. Scenes that go on forever like that.
Yeah, and just the drudgery of it. Yeah.
The trekking, frankly, I did think of like Lord of the Rings at times. I'm like, could we just kind of skip to where you're at the next city or the next town or something?
Right.
And Lost is like that every week. It's like, here we are walking through the forest again.
I can't speak with you about that.
Yeah. Well, it's
as a matter of principle.
It's all a Lord of the Rings thing. It's like the quest. Kind of, but again, they're not really going towards much sometimes, and sometimes they are.
Well, some of the critics have been concerned about whether or not Soderbergh has any commitment or personal attachment to this project. It was sort of just like an exploration of movie making. Like, how can I make this the anti-movie and just make people suffer through the jungle with them? And I kind of appreciate that, right? I dig the fact that it made us feel, at least viscerally, right, that we were a part of it, and it was sort of like, hell yeah, that's hard. I finally get it.
Yeah, it shows you that if you want to start a revolution, and I always tell my students, you start the revolution, I'll be with you in the streets once it jumps off. But seriously, yeah, it's a little bit more work than just you meet in the streets one day and suddenly change things. If you're going to do it their style, if you're going to try to do some kind of get together a military group and try to really hit the main guy, you're going to have to you're going to have to trudge around a lot, frankly, and you're going to have to make some rules. You're going to have to teach people. I like that they you got to love that for us that he made people read and write.
Right.
It's like, you got to take Comp 1 before you can get through my revolution, baby. At least basic writing.
Basic writing. You got to be literate. And that was cool to see, right? But of course, they're leaving out a massive amount of history, right? The very nasty stuff that Che took part in after the Cuban Revolution.
Okay, yeah, I
right, so they chopped a bunch of that off, but only because Soderbergh wanted to show, right, the parallel revolutions, how the one succeeds, how the one fails. In any case, it's worth it to see that. I think the combination of the films.
My suspicion is that he's also, I'd have to go check it out, do some research to actually be sure, but I just think probably he just decided to hew closely to what Che was saying about himself in those two memoirs, I guess, that he's published about this. And so, of course, somebody in their memoirs is not going to say, oh, I butchered a bunch of people. Yeah, there was that day. I totally lost it. Although I did show him stabbing a horse. That was
yeah, that was rough.
I didn't quite get that one. But anyway, so 2 thumbs up for Che.
2 thumbs big up for me.
And yeah, you'll just have to see Che Part 1 when it comes out, and then go see Che Part 2. But now we can put the cigars down if you want. You can hold on to it.
It's so natural, though.
Maybe it fits for this next one, too. No, we need to whip out our pack of cigarettes and our Pabst Blue Ribbon.
Where's our PBR?
PBR, baby. Because that's one thing I got to say I love about Gran Torino. Is, for some reason, it just it delights me to no end to see somebody who's like almost, what do you think he is, 80 or something?
78.
He's smoking, he's drinking Pabst Blue
8 packs of cigarettes a day.
He's just knocking back those PBRs all day. And at one point, somebody asked him, have you eaten anything today? And he's like, I had some jerky and a piece of cake. I'm like, this dude is my hero.
That's why you identify with this movie.
And of course, he just said whatever he wanted. He played by his own rules. So you did not like this movie, though, so I got to hear your criticisms on this.
Oh, I'm going first, huh?
Yeah, you are. You're taking it.
I say that one of the most overrated movies of the year, without a doubt.
And you've claimed a lot of movies have been overrated.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, this is some of the worst acting across the board you will ever see in a movie. Other than Clint, everyone else in this movie stinks.
That's
there's a
interesting.
word I'd rather use, but it's not
you can say sucks on this show.
Oh, it sucks, man. It's awful. And then Clint, and I'm a big fan of Clint, and I think why it's getting overhyped is because people love Clint, right? You want to watch
love
Clint. I do too, man. But they let that cloud the actual film, right? You can't see it objectively because you're enjoying so much seeing Clint ham it up, growling and snarling, right? Which is awesome, and times he's brilliant. But man, the rest of that movie blows.
Boy, you're right. I guess I mean in terms of if it does blow, I had the old tunnel vision for Clint in this one.
Yeah.
I was just totally entertained by his performance. Now, at the beginning, I was a little worried because literally his first line in the movie is a growl. He's just going, I'm like, is this for real? And when I saw the previews, I was like, is he really going to say something like, you kids get off my lawn? I mean, are we going to do? Yeah, he pretty much does. Although that does bring in my favorite line, and I will have to edit it here. You can beat me if you want. No, I'll just edit it myself. We'll do the TNT substitution here. You can imagine what the word is that's edited. But so the Hmong guy comes on his lawn, and the Hmong gang spills over. They're having some fight, spill onto his lawn. I don't know if you all, do we have to educate them on that?
No,
apparently, okay, forget it. Anyway, this kid's like, he says to he's holding the gun up to him, telling him to get off his lawn, and one of the kids says something like, you don't want any of this, old man, get out of here, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, we used to stack jerks like you 5 feet high in Korea. Use you for sandbags. I thought that rocked, man. I was like, but again, I don't know if that was supposed to be funny. I think I think that was supposed to be a hugely dramatic moment, and I'm like laughing out loud at the theater.
Right. It's just so. Oh, it's just so Boys in the Hood. I mean, it's like 15 years too late. Trying to understand. Oh my God, inner workings of neighborhoods. It's just absurd. And the writing, man, I'm telling you, is awful. It's atrocious.
Didn't you like
the Christ figure at the end?
That was pretty rough.
Everything along the way is so perfectly scripted based on 50 other movies we've already seen.
Didn't you like his
garbage?
I liked his conversations with the priest, though, just because he meant. Again,
that was good.
We're hard on priests on this show, so of course the priest didn't take a shot to the head, though. So
no face shots.
But he did take a verbal tongue lash.
Well, I will say this, of course, I'm one of the few. For those of you watching, I'm one of the few who would not recommend it. It's
Rotten Tomatoes
up for awards. It's getting like 78% on Rotten Tomatoes. But man, I'm telling you, it's because of Clint only. You look beyond Clint.
He carries that movie.
Is crap.
I don't know. I did think maybe some of the racial politics in the movie was sort of ineptly handled, but by other people's standards, but not by my standards. I was like, this is awesome. Did that bother you that he was like throwing away all these, throwing out all these racial epithets all throughout? I mean, he pretty much had the handbook of racial epithets.
Pretty much,
he even hit Ofe, which I was like, wait a minute, that's for white people, and he's white. What's going on? Well, I don't even know what that means.
And they're supposedly, they're complicating the idea of race when they go in the barber shop and look, those white guys making fun of each other. It's like, just
you're not down with that.
No, I'm not buying it. Man. It was so cheap. I'm disgusted by it, man. Disgusted.
I was considering it. It didn't make my top 10 list, but I thought about it.
I can't. The times I rolled my eyes in that film. More than probably any film I've ever seen. And I'm talking. I've seen some garbage, man. And so every other scene was just like, oh my God.
So I guess you didn't laugh throughout this movie.
No, and that's just it. The jokes, and there were supposed to be many, because there's supposed to be a comedy in many ways.
You think so?
Oh, absolutely.
See, I thought maybe I was just.
It's a black comedy for sure, right?
Okay, right.
And I just didn't think any of the jokes delivered. And everyone around me just was sort of numb. It was like.
Yeah, I was.
Is that supposed to be a joke, or is that
I was kind of the
supposed
only
to be
one cracking up in my theater, and so I think a lot of people are like, "What's with this guy back there?" But again, I don't think the stuff I was cracking up with was supposed to be funny, But anyway, I guess I just think it's funny when Clint Eastwood says racial epithets for some reason. I don't know why, because I know he doesn't mean it. And I don't know. Anyway,
you mean Clint the real guy?
Clint the real guy, yeah. The Walt Kowalski guy. By the way, that was a little nod to Vanishing Point.
Right. Oh, right. That's right.
That was on TV last night, but not for you.
No.
Okay, let's go on to our third briefly cover, because I slept through most of this one, so I can't really review it, or half of it at least. Coraline, we saw that too, and it was a kids movie, and we were like, eh.
Tim fell asleep, I think, for about 70 minutes of the 90.
I totally don't know. I mean, all I know is she went into some other world, and they had buttons on their eyes. And
Here's 3 minutes. 3 3 minutes into the film, Tim goes.
Yeah, that means I'm trying not to fall asleep.
He scoots all the way up.
Yeah, good. Sit up straight, don't fall asleep. I'm like, wow, I'm losing it already,
And
man.
then the head started going,
yeah.
bouncing.
Was I usually I snore. Was I snoring?
No snore.
Okay, well that's, because sometimes I snore and like I would imagine the whole theater must hear me if I really
I
start
would have punched you.
Yeah, you gotta do the old elbow.
So Coraline was it was really cool. Actually, the visuals were ridiculously good.
Yeah.
Story was whatever, mediocre, but to see it on the big screen is worth it because it's gorgeous to look at. It was a beautiful film.
Yeah,
Not that you saw.
And again, I think I'll rent it on DVD just to see if I was missing something. But by the way, we're gonna get to. We're also gonna do Brian's beef. You do have a beef, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But I forgot one thing with Che. I read a little kind of a snarky summary of it online where they made little jokes about it. But overall they were reviewing it. But here's my favorite thing. They had. They said, "Words you don't want to hear from your commanding officer. You are in charge of the suicide platoon." You remember that in the movie? I remember at the time thinking, that's a weird thing to say to somebody to motivate them. Okay, so what's your beef, Brian?
Brian's beef.
Time for me to sit forward and fall asleep. No, I'm just kidding.
And seriously, can we get the visual, a little faster?
What?
Because,
Did
I
it
do
creep
this,
on
and like,
last
how
night?
hard is it? How hard is it for my producers to take care of that
I thought it came in right on time.
visual? No, and how hard is it to get something other than like actual beef?
You want
Find
some
me
veggie
something
beef?
that looks like tofu or some
Tofurkey.
seitan.
I think
Anything.
this is turning into your beef of the week. That we're
I'm
not getting
over
your
it.
beef right.
These guys tell me what I need to do every week, right? And I'm thinking, look, do you know anything about Stanislavski? Do you know anything about method? I'm in my character. And I'm tired of dealing with it. Amateurs.
Now calm down, Brian. Can't we just talk about this?
He doesn't even know how to put this thing on me right. What are you laughing at?
Are you saying we're done
What are you
professionally?
laughing
We are done professionally.
Out here.
All right, well, I think that was Brian was riffing on our good friend Christian Bale there. And right now, I think I'm gonna start on making my Brian Peters remix of the dance remix of this little rant here. So I better get working on that. But stay tuned, folks. Coming up, we're gonna do our sci-fi picks for DVD with myself and Jim Watson. Come on back.
Very affordable. They have a convenient tutoring schedule that works around my schedule.
Jefferson College is very challenging.
They have a diverse campus.
This is the very beginning of the second part of my life, and I have a new sense of direction and a new passion in my life.
They are committed with my success.
The quality of education here, I would give it a 10.
I'm Kimberly Clark.
I'm Shayna Payton.
I'm Jose Solorian.
I'm Rachel Schrage.
I'm Della Selman.
I'm Nick Schaefer.
I'm Stacy Self, and I discovered my future at Jefferson College.
Hey, folks, we're back.
We're back. We back.
Yeah. Hey, save the Arnold impression for later, okay? We're going to do your movie first. By the way, I'm Tim Boehme.
I'm Jim Watson, and you're not.
And we are going to look at our favorite sci-fi picks on DVD. And I guess, I don't know, is this your... For me, this is like my favorite sci-fi movie of all time, my pick.
The Day the Earth Stood Still was in my top 10 of all time movies, and it's easily my top 10. It's my top science fiction movie, so yes.
Predator, I would say the only competition for me is, well, there's two. Aliens 2 and Terminator 2. For some reason, the second ones and those are, but I think Predator just might edge those two out a little bit. So.
Forbidden Planet is also very good, but to me, there's nothing close. But Forbidden Planet's pretty good. So.
Well, let's hear about old Day
the
Earth Stood Still.
This was at early 50s, so it's you look back at it now, it's in black and white. It's campy by today's standards because it's very 50-ish, and it was just when television was first came on the scene. The televisions that the people gather around watching, and there was only one television. There weren't televisions on people's wrists and you know, in the back of cars and all that. But so everybody would gather, and the screen was minute. It was small, and yet there was this big box that was there. So it's very 50s. But what I liked about it is the plot was it was a very straightforward plot, and the message was really great. It was basically that, look, we are too violent. That still works today. That's one reason why I think it holds up. I mean, if you look at the ethnic cleansing, some of the things that go on in Africa now, some of the latest 24s were the prequel that for this year's episodes of 24, which by the way are awesome again. Jack is back, but the prequel was about all the violence that's going on in Africa and ethnic cleansing and all that, and it just has always been. It just seems like, you know, we didn't start the fire, as Billy Joel would say. It's been going on for quite a long time, and we still have it, and we seem to be getting a little better at times, but then we step backwards and we forget, and it's basically. An alien comes to our planet and says, look, you were fine when you had your own petty squabbles, but now that you're in the nuclear age, the atomic bomb had been invented and had a couple been blown up, and now the Russians had some, and one of the big issues in all this movie is that we're in the middle of the Cold War, which is between the Soviet Union and the United States principally, and the world is divided up into two camps, and destruction is very possible. And as a matter of fact, 10 years after this movie was produced, because I think this is early 50s, was the Cuban Missile Crisis, and we darn near destroyed the planet. We came 15 minutes away from having a nuclear exchange with the Cuban Missile Crisis. So the message is very clear. You know, now that you're possible going to join the other planets, we're a federation of planets. You know, if you're continue on your violent path, we can't abide by that, and you're going to pay the price. We're going to get rid of you.
Yeah, I got the impression that they were not just worried about that we would trash our own planet, but that with now that we're moving out into space, we could trash other planets or trash other parts of the galaxy.
So change your ways, or else. And so that I think that was a great, clear message and very good plot. So.
But first, they land.
Yes. So let's watch them land.
Let's watch them land.
Okay, so they land, and one of the reasons it makes this movie interesting as well is, of course, in the last few months, a new updated version of The Day the Earth Stood Still came out, and stayed for a little bit in the movie theaters, not very long, but and there were a lot of similarities. We'll talk about that after this movie, but in both movies there's tons of panic, which is to be expected. I mean, people were really scared to death, and that's what that last scene showed.
Yeah. Of course, anytime aliens show up,
yeah, that'll.
You're probably going to freak out a little bit.
Right.
Although, in this next clip we're going to look at, they seem to be having a rather leisurely conversation about it at the breakfast.
Well, what happens is, now with the new movie, they take some of the same things that were happening in the old movie. There's a lot of similarities. There's some similarities, but he decides to walk around, and since his initial meeting didn't go so well because they shot him, and when he got out of the spaceship, just like in the new movie, they shoot him, and so he decides to go out and see what the people are like. And he, this might seem unreal, but back in the 50s, I mean, you don't have the internet, you don't have somebody's picture pasted every place. They didn't really get a good picture of him because he was in this beekeeper suit, which looked like a space suit, which, by the way, is what they had in the new one as well. And so he was able to get out into the population, and he goes to a rooming house, and he rents a room. He was Mr. Carpenter, and he gets to know a lot of people, and he befriends a young boy in the rooming house, and his mother, who's dating a jerk. But eventually he befriends her, and so he really gets to know the people. Well, what this scene is about is they're around the table. Now, remember, this is a rooming house, and they're all eating, and Aunt B from the Andy Griffith Show, or what is it, something in Mayberry, whatever the name
Andy
of it
Griffith
is.
Show.
Yeah, the Andy Griffith Show. But anyway, there's a scene with Aunt B in it, and she's, they're all real scared, and they're giving their own interpretations.
Sounds and looks just like Aunt B, too.
Right. Well, yeah.
Yeah, one of my favorite lines from that was, I don't know how funny it is, but what does he say? Something like, one of the guys says something like, they should be able to deal with this. And somebody else, this crisis, and somebody's like, well, hey, our leaders are human just like the rest of us, and he said, they're not humans, they're Democrats.
Yeah.
That was kind
So
of
some things never change.
Yeah,
we're seeing a lot of that in the House of Representatives right now. There's a crisis, everything's going to hell in a handbasket. Well, let's do nothing about the crisis. And let's see how is, as Dr. Phil would say, how's that working out for you?
I listen to all the right-wing guy like Michael Savage, and that's pretty much his consensus. They're not human, so. Anyway, so yeah, we had the old, and the weird thing is when I went and saw the new version, and then I saw the original. But one thing they really stressed when they were promoting the new one is that it had more of a ecology message, or like a planet. The planet's in jeopardy, and he's actually coming in this new one to tell him. He's not telling them to say change your ways. He's saying it's over. I don't know why he's bothered to announce this.
As long as we're getting into the new one, okay. I love this old version. The first half hour of the new version, I really liked. I thought it was on message. But then after about a half hour, I think the whole thing fell apart. I couldn't tell what it was. Was it an environmental movie? Was it a movie about that we're too violent? Because there was that element in it, because Gort, the robot, would react to any violence. So is it a message about that we're too violent, or was it environmental? And another thing that I objected to, in the original one, they had been monitoring us. They knew what the human race was. Now, they hadn't gotten down on the street, which they did, but they had an idea. In the new one, they have no idea. They just want to save the other species. So, and there were all these pods that had been buried for all this time. So, how lame that they couldn't figure out what we were like. They could at least monitor our radios.
That's one thing that I find decidedly weak in the new version. Again, I just thought they were much better at moving along the pace. I found the pace of the original just to be a little too slow for my taste. But in the new one, the way they resolved it is just a little silly. It's like, oh, okay, so Keanu/Klaatu sees a little boy cry or something, and that makes him think, oh yeah, these guys, they can do more than kill people.
Also, they play Bach, and he says it's beautiful, and so he says, well, maybe there is something to these people. Well, we sent out satellites with this type of stuff.
Didn't you get our email?
I know it. So as I say, I think the first half hour of the new one was pretty good, but then it goes. You can't tell where the plot is going. He doesn't make a connection with a little boy, which was, I think, very touching.
I didn't like that little boy.
Yeah, I didn't either, but I did in the first one. In the first one, there's a lot of connection, and eventually, his connection with the woman is very powerful in the original one, but not so in the other one.
Yeah, he's more of a distant. He's just not as human in this new one. And of course,
and it doesn't seem like they've been paying attention. They've been paying attention to the. Yeah. So I think it just totally fell apart. And by the way, it didn't do well in the theaters. I wanted to see it in the theater, and it lasted about 2 weeks.
They gave you time to see it. You just didn't motivate.
Well.
Yeah. But the other big problem with the new one, apparently the line's in here somewhere, but it's just mumbled or something, or said kind of again really. But they don't say. They should have loudly said the best line from the original, which is, you want to set up the last clip here?
Basically,
or do you want to just let them hear
when it appears that they've shot him a second time, Klaatu, and he's afraid of what will happen to the planet. He's bonded with this woman. They actually went to the professor, and they had a lot of similar scenes, but the professor was used much better. He was supposedly the smartest man in the world, and he helped him with his homework. That's one thing the little boy and he did. Michael Rene, who was the star of the original. But after they shoot him a second time, he's afraid of what is going to happen, and he tells the actress, I can't remember the name of the actress in the original. She was fairly famous, but I can't remember the name. But he tells her, look, if something happens to me, go to Gort, who is the robot, and say, Gort, Klaatu, Barata, Nikto. Now, Klaatu is his name, so I figure that out, and she's speaking to Gort. I guess Barata, Nikto means don't destroy the planet. That's what it's got to mean.
Something like that.
So, along those lines, and two, they're have very efficient language. But
dial it down, Gort.
And I had a very dear friend who was a science fiction buff and used to be a professor here, Linda Johnston, very good friend, and I wish I could have seen this with her. But she actually gave me a shirt that said that, Gort, Klaatu, Barata, Nikto. Unfortunate thing is it won't fit anymore. I won't get into that, right? But it won't fit on anymore. But I still have that, and that's what this scene is about.
All right. Explain to me why a robot's wearing underwear.
I didn't notice, but then I don't notice men's underwear. I don't know.
But he's wearing them on the outside, like
really?
Madonna style. I don't know if you can see the outline there, but anyway.
It looked very similar to me, like of the. I did that.
Really?
I do know.
You got to get one of those things where you can zoom in on his underwear for that.
I did learn in the break here that it's Patricia. The actress is Patricia O'Neill, so she should be given credit. And Michael Rene and. What else were you going to say? You were going to say.
Oh yeah, well I just I learned a little bit about it from watching the like I said, it's out on DVD. So they don't have a lot of special features, but they do have a documentary. And when they interviewed her, she said she was dating somebody at the time. I don't know who it was. Somebody could it have been James Dean maybe, or somebody famous. And the media was like always hounding her about it. And who's the guy again?
Michael Rene.
Michael Rene. He joked with her. He's like, you know what you ought to do whenever they hound you with questions about him, you ought to just say to him, Gort, Barata, Klaatu, Barata, Nikto.
Okay, now get this
chant
right.
That, yeah.
Gort, Klaatu, Barata, Nikto.
Nikto, right.
In other words, don't destroy the planet.
So the other thing, though, that I learned from that is that at one point, I think Robert Wise is the name of the director, he asked the screenwriter guy, so what is with this Barata, Klaatu, Barata, Nikto? The guy's like, I just made it up. So don't look for any kind of ancient language that somehow translates Barata and Nikto.
In Star Trek, they did. The University of Minnesota, or someplace in Minnesota, had a week camp, a week-long camp in the summer to study Klingon.
Yeah.
But talking about Star Trek, in the original version, they weren't trying to meddle with our affairs. They just said, look, if you threaten us, we are going to reduce you to a cinder.
Right.
And also, the title of The Day the Earth Stood Still makes sense in the original one, because what happens for one day, just to threaten or to get the message across, since it doesn't seem like the message we're listening, people panicked and then we were all involved in our petty squabbles. He actually stops the Earth. That's why it's what it's called. In this new one, why do they call it The Day the Earth Stood Still?
Because they do that at the end of the movie.
Well, but is it what day? Is it forever, or it isn't particularly one day, and it's very unclear. It's part of the. I mean, I think the first movie, the updated movie, is just basically after the first half hour is just a hodgepodge. You don't know where it's going. Is it about violence? Is it about the environment?
There's a little bit too much of a road trip aspect of it to me.
And also, I mean, they are. You talk about violating the prime directive that Star Trek people would know. I mean, they're basically saying, we're going to get rid of you because you're messing around this planet because there are only 8. There's a theory in astronomy that says there are only 8 planets in the world. Now, since there are millions of planets and maybe billions of planets, like Carl Sagan used to say, billions and billions.
I think he was talking about stars.
But there's supposedly Drake's formula reduces it to only 8 or 10 possible planets that could support life, and so they want to get rid of humans because the humans are destroying it.
Right.
Well, that's a questionable equation anyway, and they're definitely interfering with with the way the planet is going. So
they're not following your stupid Prime Directive.
Well, I think sometimes it should have been violated in Star Trek, but
and the Prime Directive is a human invention. The aliens are like above us; they're doing their own thing.
Nevertheless, I found the last half hour or last 2/3 of the new movie to just be a hodgepodge. It was just going everywhere. It had no.
I'll still make the point though that it was. You got to admit that they, first of all, of course nowadays they can bring the special effects.
Right.
A little bit more.
Granted, I mean, if you're looking for special effects, the beauty of watching this old one, and they've reissued it, and it's popular now, is that it's very campy and it has this music like and all the men wear hats like in the old days, and it's a real slice of what goes on in the 1950s, and I think that's it's sort of interesting to revisit that. But still, I think the plot holds it up, and despite the fact that it's definitely inferior. I mean, they spend tons of time in the new one with special effects, and I think they get a little carried away with the special effects and they forget what the plot is.
Yeah. And
I don't think it's clear what happens in the end. There's no connection at the very end. Michael Renee makes a connection with Patricia Neal, and he certainly made a connection with the little boy who later on was the little boy in Father Knows Best for old television watchers. But there's not connections made, and I mean, and another thing that's strange, he saves a policeman that he first kills and then he saves, and later on the guy that he's supposed that accompanies Patricia Neal's character in the modern one. When he gets killed, he just sort of, tough luck, you lose, dude. So, that's not consistent either. And, it's just, now there are some things that are similar, like he has a salve that does, and in the original, a salve, a little tube of something, he just put over his wound. It was fine. But in this new movie, originally when he opens his shirt, it's on this side, the bullet hole, and then later on, the stitches are on the other side. So, I just think they after the first half hour they just botched this whole thing up.
Well, we must agree to disagree then.
Yes.
So do you want to throw some kernels for your movie?
Yes. Since this is in my top 10, and we have 4 that we can throw, right?
Yep. 4's the max.
1, 2, 3, 4. This is in my top 10.
I'm afraid the original was just, I see what they were getting at, but I guess, again, even compared to something like the old Star Trek series, I thought the pacing was just a little bit too slow. They needed to, fist fight something. I needed some ultra violence or something, so I'm just going to have to go 1, 2 kernels.
Now, I would give 2 kernels to the new one.
Okay.
Well, or maybe even a third of a 4. So we're.
And I would give
because the first half hour was pretty good. The first half hour was decent, and then they just blew it.
Keeping track of these kernels at home.
Right.
Well, anyway, some more kernels will be thrown, folks, because we still have one more DVD to look at. This is the most awesome sci-fi movie with 2 governors in it. I can safely say that.
So we will be back.
We will be back.
Stay
tuned for the Predator.
Yeah.
This is Robotics and Automation Technology at Jefferson College, where students learn valuable industry skills every day.
I came in not knowing a lot, and then now I feel like I can look at something and say, oh, I know how that works, and I know how that works, and it's exciting.
Instruction includes automation equipment repair, automation equipment maintenance, automation equipment installation, application and control of robotic and computer-controlled equipment, and much more. Jefferson College's outstanding instructors use state-of-the-art technology to help students get jobs.
They're learning how to install and maintain, repair robots, automated equipment, the equipment that's used to manufacture the goods that most people are buying off the shelves today. Whether it's an automobile or a can of peas, we use automated equipment. It has to be repaired, it has to be installed. The students are ready to do that when they graduate from this program.
Graduates land jobs such as field engineers, field technicians, service technicians, electrical maintenance technicians, and many more.
It's basically a wide open field. There's everything's growing so fast in it right now that there's a whole lot of job opportunities, and there's not nearly enough people going into it to fill all those spots.
The program success ratio is more than 90%. Employers want Jefferson College graduates.
And when they start looking for other people, they're coming back to us looking for more.
I'm very confident. Jefferson College has given us the knowledge to do the job, and they have actually helped us with employment as far as getting to know the factories that are around here, and our instructors do know some of the people that are employed in the factories around here, so they kind of get us in the door a bit.
Discover your future with robotics and automation technology at Jefferson College.
Welcome back. We're here to pump you up.
We're here to pump you up. Yeah.
We're gonna do this whole thing in Arnie accent.
Or Hans and Swan.
And really, we should probably quit because there's so many people that do like a perfect, spot on, Schwarzenegger.
Tina Fey does a very good one, by the way.
Really?
Yeah.
Gosh. I heard she does a mean Sarah Palin too.
Pretty good too, yeah.
So anyway, I don't. This one kind of snuck up on me because I always thought, like the second Alien, the Aliens, it's just called Aliens. I always thought that, or maybe Terminator 2. I went and saw that 10 times in the theater. But Predator was like one of those where I saw it at the time and went, that's pretty good. And then somehow over the years, I've gone back to look at it again, and then it just became one of these movies that if it's ever on TV, I don't have to stop and watch, but I definitely have to leave it on. And I have my own DVD copy, so I don't know why. But and the weird thing about this movie is that there really is no, I wouldn't call it a cerebral movie. Unlike the one thing I will give The Day the Earth Stood Still is that they were certainly trying to give you some kind of moral comment and have you learn something maybe from seeing this and not just be entertained. I don't think Predator was going for any kind of moral commentary that I can figure out. And in this first scene we're going to look at, I think you have the complete opposite of moral comment, which is pure carnage, in the way that you could only do in an 80s Arnold Schwarzenegger flick with no green screen, just people blowing the hell out of each other. Jim, I'm kind of running short on time here. I got to leave in a little bit and grade some
papers. I think you should stick around.
Oh, all right. If you keep throwing bad puns at me, I'll stay. Yeah, that's a classic.
This is just a fun movie. I like this movie. This is fun.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's definitely science. It's science fiction because there's an alien in it, so
right.
I'll give you that. But regardless, it's fun. Arnold's fun, and
yeah.
I like his movies. He's a whole genre of ones, and then he always has this character's pun that he has, and that was it. Stick around.
Stick around. Yeah, he's. I think they made a joke about it in Last Action Hero. I don't know if you ever saw that, but that was his movie where he made fun of all of his 80s movies, and one of the kids even points out, like, yeah, you do this in every movie. You say these bad, stupid puns, because he's playing a guy who's and he's like, and I don't know if he actually said this in that movie or in a different movie, but there's somehow I think he stabs a guy with like an ice cream cone, and he says something like "ice to meet you" or something. Or maybe I'm thinking of his Simpsons. I don't know.
My favorite of all of his movies is there's Commando, and he's with Radon Chong.
Yeah.
And there's a guy that he said he wasn't going to kill, and then he drops him off a cliff. He's holding him, and so he goes back to the automobile where Radon Chong was, and she says, "Where is he?" And he says, "I had to let her go."
Let him go. Yeah. So anyway, you gotta love it. Gotta love it, old Arnie. Yeah, and I kind of wonder if Arnie's deaf now, because can you believe, I hope he put in some earplugs for a scene like that, because when I'm listening to it, if you listen to it with like a good sound system, you're gonna get complaints from the neighbors. You're just blowing up a village here. And then Jesse the Body Ventura, my former governor when I lived in Minnesota. Of course, that's the great thing here is that you have two current
governors, yes.
One current governor, one former governor.
Right.
Both of them just going ape with giant. But Jesse's got that thing. What is that? A Gatling gun or something?
They have small cannons for guns.
Exactly.
Right.
Well, that leads us to this next scene, which I call deforestation is awesome. Because we'll see that again, they take out like a half the jungle trying to catch the predator in this one. So.
Now, in its defense, it's more than just a lot. Not that there would be anything wrong with just unbelievable violence and huge guns.
Nothing
and all
wrong with that
yeah,
at all.
Yeah, but there is a lot of you can see the friendship when one person dies. We won't reveal who it is. His friend goes after to help to avenge him, and there's a lot of loyalty. And there's one guy that Arnold meets who's kind of strayed and isn't a straight shooter, and then later on he comes back to the fold. So they're all very tight knit, and there's loyalty is really big in this movie, and so there are some lessons.
There are also eventually the Predator franchise or whatever sequels developed into this notion of what it means to be a hunter a little bit, because in the second one, Danny Glover's the main guy, and the Predator treats L.A. I think it's set in L.A. The Predator just assumes that this is another like predator prey zone. He sees people preying on each other and he thinks, this is my perfect environment to start killing people. So they start to make a little bit of social commentary. In this one, the one disagreement that Arnold has with that Dillon guy is that Dillon's one of these, do whatever it takes, kill whoever you need to kill to get the job done. And Arnold says, yeah, we're elite, whatever, super force, but we're not assassins. And so he does say something at the beginning how he doesn't like to get used just to execute people. He wants to have some kind of ethics as to how he does this. Of course, because the Dillon guy has lied to him, he's gotten them, as Arnold says, tossed into a meat grinder. They don't understand, of course, what the meat grinder involves until they start to realize that there's something extraterrestrial or at least something very weird going on. So that's the Predator aspect of it. We haven't really looked at, like Jim says, the sci-fi kind of creeps up on you in this movie, and I'd say in part it could be viewed as some sort of like, I don't know, military adventure movie, jungle movie.
It works. A lot of the X-Files were sort of, this is sort of, there are two types of X-Files episodes, and one was the ones I liked the best were the extraterrestrial and the plots and the conspiracy theory ones. But there were also a lot of just creepy ones, and that's what this falls in. So it falls in, because all the X-Files were definitely science fiction.
Yeah.
So it falls in that category. And one of the most interesting things is the creature's blood, because it's a different color and it sort of glaces over on the leaves. And also there's the sixth sense that one of his characters has, Billy the Indian.
Right.
And
he's cool.
Has this sixth sense where he's able to somehow detect him, but he can't tell how. So then they have these shots of what he looks like,
well, there's also like Predator vision, where you see through his eyes, and you see and that's one interesting thing about this movie. In a minute, we're going to look at a clip here where you finally see the Predator, and the camera just shows him full on. His little force field, or whatever you want to call it, his disguise is gone, camouflage. And but before that, it's kind of like Jaws. You see little glimpses here and there, and it's like this. And that's what they said that why Jaws was such a successful horror movie is because they let you imagine what the horror was like for most of the movie, and then towards the end, he jumps out of that.
Which is what Hitchcock did with Psycho. Yeah. You never saw a lot of it. You just it was just the fear.
Right.
And that worked better, yes.
So in this scene, though, we do finally, and even this is kind of cool how he's finally revealed. Arnie's running for his life, basically, and he jumps off a gigantic cliff and plunges into the water.
It must be said also, this Predator at least has the sense of, when he fights him, if the guy has no weapon, he gets rid of his weapon. So he has a little bit of sense of honor. Yeah. He's really wants a fight is what he wants. And
And Arnold tells you, the woman at one point, like, don't pick up a gun because, he won't kill you if you're not carrying a gun. There's no sport in that. But anyway, he does catch up to, he's hot on Arnie's tail in this scene. So let's check it out. So I guess the idea there, I mean, maybe it seems obvious to some people, but it isn't that he can't see Arnold because he's camouflaged so well. It's that the mud that he's caked on himself somehow blocks out the whatever he's reading people by infrared or something.
Yeah, I think
like
that's
that.
a very interesting part of it. That
Yeah.
And of course when he goes in water and the mud comes off,
right,
then he's more revealable. So I think that was a very interesting twist to it.
Yeah. A couple other. I guess one thing that just I think there's a perfect melding of like the right actors, definitely the right scene, and I got to give props to Arnie for this one because apparently they were Arnold. Actually, the character's name is Dutch, but
right.
But Arnold, the actor, they said to him, they came to him and they said, let's make this movie. And by the way, John McTiernan also directed the original Die Hard, so I mean he's aces in my book, and he also did the 13th Warrior, which I really like. But they said, I don't know if it was McTiernan or somebody said to Arnold, okay, we're going to film this sucker in a backlot somewhere. And Arnold's like, no, we need to go to the jungle, baby. So apparently he was the way he tells it anyway, he got them to film on location somewhere and to really have that. So he's like, I don't think you're going to convince people they're in a jungle unless we go to a jungle or something like that.
There was also that snake.
Yeah.
And they sort of brushed that aside. Well, that's the least that they're worried. The snake. I don't know about you, but I think
Snakes and scorpions.
I'd have done something with the snake.
I love that scorpion
yeah.
thing. Yeah. So.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, he pulls a knife out on him.
Yeah.
And he's wondering, what is this
look
guy
over
going to
there.
behead me? And he says, look what was on your back.
Yeah, he pulls the scorpion. So I think, part of the jungle is kind of the extra character, and it really adds a lot of atmosphere to the movie. The look of the Predator, I believe this was made by Stan Winston. He's like a famous creature effects guy, and I think when you actually finally see the Predator, it's pretty awesomely freaky. So that's another cool thing. The only thing on the effects that I would kind of definitely have gotten better is that when he shoots the laser at somebody, it does kind of just look a step above like somebody using crayons to draw the laser blast. So they've definitely gotten better at laser blast. But anyway,
well, since we've established I'm an old school guy.
I know you like old school.
I mean, it was fine. The special effects were fine.
And the one thing I do like, it is refreshing to go back and see a movie where everybody, obviously they're firing blanks, but they're firing real guns. There's not a green screen shot, as far as I know, in this entire movie. I think this is pre-green screen days. So that's kind of refreshing to have that kind of reality in a flick. The other final thing I'll mention, I usually don't mention this in movies, but a great score seems to really move this thing along. There's kind of a lot of militaristic kind of music that advances things, and you kind of forget about some stuff like that.
I actually often notice the movies, music in movies, but this one I didn't.
Well, maybe
I like the movie. This is definitely
on another viewing.
Movie.
You ought to check out that because it really, I think it adds a lot to it. And the other weird thing, I won't tell you how the last act it transpires, but it's almost entirely. There's almost no dialogue, so it's kind of interesting. Like the last half hour, there's like no more dialogue, so it's kind of interesting. You don't always see that in a movie. Anyway, for all these things and more, and for the greatness that was Arnold back in his heyday, I'm going to have to go the ultimate on this one. Give it the full 4. Oh, that one broke apart. Popped kernels.
Well, I'll give it a 3.
Cool.
I thought it was pretty
solid.
cool. I thought it was a solid movie.
3 all at once.
Yes.
All right, folks. Well, stick around. Stick around. We got more show for you.
Yes.
We'll be right back.
You may not know their names, but the students who are helped through a Jefferson College Foundation scholarship carry thanks in their hearts. It's for the kindness that our contributors have shown. Make a difference in their tomorrows.
Education, the great equalizer. It doesn't just mean you get more knowledge, it means you improve your quality of life.
Give to the Jefferson College Foundation today.
Good stuff. I'm sticking with caffeine.
Yeah, if you can't tell by my voice, I'm kind of battling a little bug right now, and so I brought in instead of a soda today, the Tylenol cough and sore throat. Free plug. I expect to get a case of this in the mail for free.
Does that stuff make you drowsy?
No, this is the daytime non-drowsy, which is good, and it hasn't been. But my beef with this thing, here's Matt's beef for this. I just want to look on the back and see how much I should take and how often. And instead of, the normal label on the back like I'm used to, there's a book back here that I have to page through, to find how. I mean, when you're sick and not feeling well, that's the last thing you want to have to do is read fine print, with a magnifying glass. And not to mention, it took me 15 minutes to open the damn thing. Now I guess it's usually blue and it's real bright, and I can see why a little kid might want to, slam this down and everything, but come on.
Well, probably at least a page of that book is devoted to all the things that could go wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to love these commercials nowadays with the, they have to spend half the commercial telling you about all the things that could go wrong, how you could be vomiting, how you could have diarrhea, you could bleed out your eyes, but hey, it might help your arthritis a little bit, so I think you should take it. Yeah, we're getting a little crazy with that stuff.
Yeah.
But speaking of drugs, I didn't really follow this A-Rod thing, but apparently that was a big flap.
Yeah, Alex Rodriguez tested positive for steroids in 2003, said he used
2003, and we're finally hearing about it now.
Right, well, and there's 100 or so other names in that report that they're not going to release.
Whoa!
Because I guess, obviously the Players Union and baseball doesn't want that.
Why'd they release his? That's like...
Well, it got leaked. And,
okay.
Yeah, somehow it got leaked, and I haven't even looked into the whole story there, but, I mean, the main thing these players saying, we don't... I mean, you can't tell me if you're a professional athlete and you're training hard, you want to be the best. Now, I understand that maybe taking some of those performance-enhancing drugs, it's going to get you more money, it's going to make you a bigger star. I wouldn't say if I were in that situation, maybe I wouldn't do it too. But to claim that you don't know what you're putting in your body and it's just a culture of, hey, take this, like, who does that, I mean...
You're just walking around everywhere,
right.
People are handing you stuff.
Yeah, hey, it's a needle, just inject this, so everything will be great. I mean, you don't want to look into that, or, I don't know.
That sounds to me like one of those things where, like, the lawyers sort of tells you beforehand, Now, I need to know your story, but remember, if you tell me something you did wrong, then I have to say it in court. I can't act like I don't know about it in court. So I think it's one of those, like, don't ask, don't tell, here, just drink this. What is it? Oh, you don't want, just I'll pretend you didn't ask me, that kind of thing. So they can have what's known as plausible deniability.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that guy's got to be on something else, too, right now, because, I mean, he's going out with Madonna. I mean, he's not clear-headed there. I mean, he breaks up with his...
She's not too hot anymore.
No.
She's, well, for one thing, she apparently is, like, just a total workout fiend.
Yeah.
And Guy Ritchie actually kind of, I guess, maybe that's partly why they broke up, because she would exercise, like, 3 or 4 hours a day, and she looks like she's got all these muscles and looks too thin. I don't know.
Maybe she was giving A-Rod the steroids back then.
That's where he was right. He was training with Madonna. The weird thing is that she made him do all these funny dances, Well, folks, as promised, we have come back to tell you about, well, these are definitely 10 of the worst movies of the year. It's kind of hard to gauge what actually is the worst because, frankly, there are movies that I refuse to see. If I actually saw them, they probably, like if I saw any movie by that Tyler Perry dude, I'm pretty sure it would end up on my top 10 list, of worst things, but I don't see those. So of the movies that I could stomach seeing, here's the 10 worst. Number 10, we have Get Smart. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did. It was okay, but yeah, it was nothing to brag about. Nothing to write home about.
It just seemed like a totally pointless. It's like, just watch the original, and neither one's that great, but I couldn't. I thought, it didn't work. Number 9, Joyride 2. Gosh. The weird thing was I was actually psyched to see this, if you can believe that. Do you remember the original Joyride? No. It was about these people who drive around and they taunt some trucker guy on their little CB.
Oh, okay.
And it had like Lily Sobieski and Paul Walker and some name guys. Steve Zahn. Well, then Joyride, and I thought that was great. But then, so I hear about Joyride 2, but this was one of those, let's just cash a check and make fools like Tim Boehme watch it and just throw a bunch of gore around. That'll keep them happy. But no, I was not happy. Not good mood. Number 8 is Sukiyaki Western Django. Yes, that is the weird title, and it really sums up the bizarre nature of the story. For one thing, it's a Japanese Western, so right off the bat, we're going, huh? and Quentin Tarantino is in it. I really must now look askance at anything that has his name stamped on it if he participated in something this bizarre and stupid. So, just really, if you just want to watch something that makes no sense, rent Sukiyaki Western Django. Number 7, I totally am to blame for sitting down for Starship Troopers 3. I don't know what I was thinking. My brother warned me from Starship Troopers 2, and so I didn't see it. So somehow I guess I thought, yeah, well, maybe they got it right with Starship Troopers 3. I did like the original, but again, they're just cashing the old paychecks at this point. Crappy. We always feel the need when we make these lists to punish some big name movies. So here come a couple of them. Quantum of Solace, the James Bond, and I've already, I think, ripped on that on this show, so I'm not going to go into it. But I've said this a million times. I hope I live up to it at this point. I'm done with the Bond franchise. Unless you, Matt Keeney, personally tell me that the newest Bond movie is super cool and great, I am not going to, or my brother or somebody I really trust, I am not going to see another Bond movie because I just can't stand the disappointment. They do have some good stunts, but not enough to make up for all the just really, I don't know, boring parts. Number 5, speaking of boring, Speed Racer. You wouldn't think it could be that boring because it looks kind of visually interesting, but boring, cheesy, pointless, way too convoluted for a kid's movie. I mean, so.
Yeah, I like the style.
The style is
style
interesting.
Is great, but
if you want to get the cool aspect of this, find the video. They made a little video where they put clips from the film, and they have this cool like remix of the song, like and it combined a little rap with it. It was like 2 minutes. I'm like, that is awesome. But again, they played it through the credits. So I'm like, wow, the credits are the best part of this movie. Guess I'm glad I hung around for that. Number 4, 88 Minutes, Al Pacino cashing a paycheck, and of course the rap on this one was 88 minutes you'll never get back. You know.
Al Pacino, man, it's just he's lost his magic for me.
Yeah,
I mean,
no, he's just done too many crappy movies.
Right.
I mean, he's not just Michael Corleone anymore. He's a guy who's done a lot of good movies and a lot of crappy movies. Number 3, I think I've already ripped on this on the show too. Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and
just terrible.
The title really, announces right away that they've lost their way. You know? It's like we're on the second line now with the title. And just really.
There was no need to bring aliens into the Indiana Jones franchise, and don't tell me, oh, they're interdimensional beings. They were aliens.
Yeah, I know.
That has no place in Indiana Jones.
I know.
I mean, have him,
He deals with Old Testament stuff or weird cultural things, but yeah.
Right. I mean, have it do another spinoff where he fights the Nazis again. That'd be cool with me. But aliens, come on.
And let's stick to things that can actually happen.
Yeah.
If you get in a refrigerator, that's not gonna save you from a nuclear bomb.
But it was lined with lead.
Lined with lead, but even so, it flies through the air, and you're not gonna be okay if you land from like 500 feet in the air, even if you're in a refrigerator. And then you're certainly, if you survived all that, you're not gonna get out and be okay because of all, there is fallout.
Yeah, I know.
You didn't get blown far enough that you didn't, there's no radiation around.
Yeah, if Indy's hair started falling out halfway through the movie, then I would have bought it.
If it came out and like his flesh started dissolving or something, then I would have gone, all right, I'm doing something. And then this is just a small thing, I guess, once you've done something that stupid. But here's my other favorite, completely ludicrous thing. They have his girlfriend, his old girlfriend, Marion whatever, Raven something. At one point, she says, okay, we're going to drive out of here and escape. And she drives off a cliff. She's like, oh, I know what I'm doing. Everybody's like, no, you're driving towards a cliff. She's like, I know what I'm doing. And it's some kind of truck or car or whatever that can float. Let's just throw that out there first. She drives off the cliff. She purposefully lands on a big tree branch.
Yeah.
And the tree branch gradually falls and just eases them into the water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, we realize these are movies. I don't expect it to mimic reality, but yeah, I mean, there are certain things that you just can't believe. I mean, you can't.
Yeah.
We're not idiots, all right?
Yeah.
I
mean, might be even impossible for going back to the first one, for somebody to hang on to underneath a truck when it's driving at whatever 60 miles an hour. But that you still go, that's possible. That's within the realm of possibility. But to think, even if something like that were possible, to think you would on purpose try to do something like that.
I mean, you have to, any kind of action adventure movie, you have to suspend disbelief, obviously, but there's a line.
Yeah.
And they crossed that line, I think.
Yeah, they crossed it like 5 times in that movie. It's ridiculous. Number 2, I think I mentioned this on the show too, is, it's funny, one of my students mentioned that she saw the show recently. She's like, yeah, I remember you were talking about some movie and you said you really liked the nudity in it. And I'm like, yeah, that's Synecdoche, New York. That was the only good part of it. There is a good nude scene at the end. But it's way too much torture to get to that point.
Just look it up on YouTube.
To see Emily Watson naked. Really brutal, and I'm surprised, being so brutal and pretentious, that it somehow didn't get an Academy nomination, because they sometimes love that stuff. But thank God it didn't get nominated for anything. They just completely ignored it because it was a load of crap. So, and then number 1 was my surprise, not good movie of the year, because I was actually pretty psyched for this one. Did you see The Spirit?
I haven't. And I wanted to, but it seemed like it was in theaters for like 3 days, and it was gone.
Exactly.
I couldn't find it.
Well, it did get creamed by like the complete orgy of movies that were out at Christmas time. There was like Valkyrie, there was Benjamin Button, all kinds of stuff. And yeah, I was there with 2 other people at that Grand Bluffs, whatever one, in the Getaway thing at Fenton. That's the new theater. Nice theater, by the way. Nice, comfortable seats, so that when you watch something really boring like The Spirit, you can just kind of doze off, peacefully. And I did that for literally probably the last half of the movie. I don't know what happened, but I'm pretty sure if it was just as boring as the first half of the movie. And that's the weird thing. It was an action movie, but there was just a lot of yapping. And somehow, even though Frank Miller, he directed it, I guess he might have written the script, not interesting dialogue at all. So, and Samuel L. Jackson was just, he was a villain in that. It was just ludicrous, and I don't know. It was a comic book I never followed, so I don't know why I was so excited about it. But again, usually when you put Frank Miller, his name on something, it's usually something pretty good. But this was like, I don't think they'll let him direct another movie, because this was his debut, and he totally botched it. So.
Well, Sin City was pretty good.
Yeah, Sin City was awesome. Yeah.
And so, I guess maybe a lot of people had the expectation that it was going to be somewhat similar to that. And I haven't seen it, but Sin City was action-packed, and it was gruesome, but, maybe for a graphic novel movie, you got to expect that kind of stuff.
And maybe it's just the source material, because you did have a lot of action-type stuff to work with. But then again, Rodriguez was also doing the lion's share of the directing there, I assume. So maybe with The Spirit, that's all those comic books are, a bunch of yapping back and forth, or witty retorts or something. But it wasn't that witty, and there was just nothing to really grab. The visual style was interesting, but it's just not.
But it was already done in Sin City. That's
right.
Kind of thing. So that's not new.
It's like he ripped off the style that Rodriguez invented for that. So
yeah.
Anyway. Well, that's all I have for this segment
speaking of the graphic novel movies, what do you think of The Watchmen, the previews for that? Looks pretty good.
I am totally psyched for that. Because I mentioned it in class today. One of my students was like, I've never heard of that comic book. And I'm like, I know. They're promoting it as one of the most celebrated graphic novels of all time, but only comic book geeks really know about it. So this is the chance for the world to know about it. Although I did mention to her, Time Magazine listed it as one of the great top 100 novels of all time, which, again, it's kind of weird because it was put out as 12 individual issues. It's not really a novel, but they refer to it as a graphic novel. And normally I'd kind of go, can they really do something? It's so complex. It's so really kind of, I guess, disturbing. It's very different for a comic book. Like, how could they really make some kind of popcorn flick out of it? But I think the guy who did 300, he knew what he was doing in that movie. So from what I've seen, the visuals look really cool, and I think he just strikes me as one of those types that he really wanted to get it right. So yeah, it's really the premise though is that this is sort of like, what if we what if we lived in a world where people, there were superheroes, and they made it as realistically as possible, that they would have a lot of the foibles and I don't know, one of my I shared it with a colleague one time, and he's like, well, they're going beyond just saying they're like normal people. It's like a lot of them are kind of like villainous or just kind of evil. And he's like, do you really think, is Alan Moore saying the average person is like this? I'm like, I don't know what he was saying, but he really, a lot of people just say he kind of deconstructed the superhero and made it into some, grittier, really sinister thing in some ways. But it should be cool. Yeah. So look for that, folks, in March, and maybe I don't know if you want to go check it out. Maybe you and me and Brian, and maybe Jim will go too.
Yeah.
We can all go together.
Do a field trip.
Maybe just our floating heads will go to the movie.
Yeah.
Nice new opening, by the way.
Thank you. It's cheesy, like the show.
That's right. Yeah. A little corny.
A little corny. That is correct.
I guess I'll about do it for this week.
That will. We cut it a little short for our first episode of the year, but next time we'll probably dig up one of those old cheesy movies and watch one of those and guffaw
I think
on
we
that a little
covered
bit.
it this week with the daily assist.
Yeah.
That's just one step above teenagers from outer space, you know. So anyway, all right, folks. Well, we'll see you next time then, and remember,
Keep
poppin',
poppin', Colonel.
Colonel.